Welcome, everybody, to Watching and Playing. This is going to be very quick because we want to talk about Hawkeye within 15 minutes, and I have tons of notes because Hawkeye sucks. So let's start it off. Literally every plot point of previous episodes is taken care of with a single sentence. It's almost like these terrible writers knew that they were never going to have to satisfactorily resolve any of these and just said, oh, whatever, here's a sentence that takes care of that.
I want an Nanaimo bar.
What's the sentence?
What?
What's the sentence that resolves all the
plots?
plots?
A good example. Oh, God. Like it from the very start. Oh, shit. It's in the first 5 minutes of the show. I'm trying to think of an example and I can't think of it. But basically, it's like oh Christ. There was something they said about the Ronin suit. And I can't remember. But basically, it was just like stuff that had been set up as cliffhangers from previous episodes. Not the cliffhanger right at the end. But cliffhangers through certain parts of the other stories was just written off with one sentence. So it's just like, oh, here's the resolution of that.
That's like, what they do.
Okay. Yeah. Who was recording the video in Kingpin's office? And more importantly, how did Yelena get hold of it? Making Trick Arrow's montage scene. Wow. Remember
Hold on. That's obviously a camera that they go through the duct work. And it just,
you went like 5 layers deep into the story of something like that's not even on my top 20 of plot.
It's one of those fly cams that you see.
Making the Trick Arrows montage scene. Remember when Hawkeye said there was no way to get any more Trick Arrows once they were all used up? Couldn't he have just said, I can go ahead and make more later?
I think
he was
just
lied because he was inconvenienced by her.
It was
she was annoying.
Yeah.
Why does nobody recognize Hawkeye at this party? Wasn't he a goddamn Avenger who was thanked by the entire city when it got destroyed?
The whole point of this show is Hawkeye is forgettable.
Jack makes a joke to a 10-year-old kid about when he peed his pants in front of everyone at the Hamptons. While the humor
that was
in the
hilarious.
Show is
that was like.
Oh, it sure was.
You know, it's like an FU to all the characters that like come in and like try and have an important part. I'll get to that in my thing.
I didn't look into it, but is the kid like a future anything in the Marvel universe?
Don't care. I could have gone my entire life without hearing Hawkeye say "weird flex," but okay. Nope.
Yeah, I remember when that was said. I was like, "You're too old to say that."
I don't know who I hate more, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel or Yakov Smirnoff as Yelena. I'm leaning towards Brie Larson because she's an awful pig of a human being.
She's not in the...
Oh, you're one of those guys who hates Brie Larson, eh?
Can't stand Brie Larson. One of the most racist, pig, entitled bitches on the face of the earth. So if you, and this is a good point.
So.
If you hate white people and you're white, you're still racist. If you hate a race of people because of their color, regardless if you are that color, you're still a racist person. If you call every white man old before you say white man, and as I feel it's so woke to fucking use this stupid term, you are ageist. Brie Larson is an ageist, racist pig of a human being.
She's not in the show. What are we doing?
Why would the mom not be the first person that Jack would reach out to after he got out of jail? She sees him for the first time at this party. Why wouldn't he have reached out to his soon-to-be wife once he got out of jail?
Because because she's the one who called the cops on him.
Right, but why wouldn't he say to her, "Hey, I'm out of jail and I'm coming to the party"?
Because he wants to surprise everyone. It's him who wants to prove it.
I thought he just knew he was the scapegoat in this situation.
And the terrible comic relief, the role that everybody in the entire show shared, but I'll mention that in a minute. Why are the LARPers referring to Hawkeye as boss?
Because they would love that. They want to be part of a group with him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. At least Infinity War and Endgame made the decision, be it good or bad, to make Thor the comic relief. It wasn't the best option, but they kept with it and they stuck with it through both movies. This show needs to figure out
the Hulk is also a comic relief. Tony Stark is also a comic relief.
Yes, but they are not absolute comic relief. Thor, when you look at him in Endgame and Infinity War, that is his only job in the entire story, is to be the comic relief, the butt of every joke, the butt of every scene that he is in. And this one, because they don't know who their comic relief
lost much.
But that's what, think of the Thor in Infinity War and Endgame versus the Thor in the first Avengers movie. Thor in the first Avengers movie has 1 or 2 comic instances that occur not because of him, but around him. Right?
Yeah. So it's just that
Thor is the butt of the
joke.
joke. Every joke in Infinity War and Endgame that he takes part in. Right. And this show does not know who their comic relief is. They leave that they keep on jumping the comic relief person to every single cast member, and it is awful because maybe one of the cast members is funny
as if they're the same person,
and none of the jokes land. The elevator scene, most specifically, the elevator scene between Kate Bishop and Yakov Smirnoff is fucking cringe-inducing. Every scene with those two where they talk, I wanted to fucking pull my ears off of my head. They are terrible together.
I want to talk about that before I forget it. It's, to me, the thing that's starting to get tiring about it is I liked it. I don't mind the characters. They're decent actors. But like it's queer baiting where it's like, we're hinting that maybe these two characters could be gay for one another. Like they like each other
because it's the exact same fucking joke every time they do something.
Yeah. So we know that they're not going to like kill each other, but we know that Disney would just never pull the trigger on that and like actually make a story decision. Like
I didn't get that. I thought it was more towards they are hinting, not even hinting, but like they are building a team. Like eventually these two are going to
they're building the Captain America.
They're the new Hawkeye and Black Widow.
Exactly.
Why in the fuck are Yakov Smirnoff and Kate Bishop dance fighting around the office? What the hell was the purpose of that scene?
Can I just say that I did not like the way that one like when they're fighting in one office and then going to the next part of the office.
That was a funny joke.
It didn't
kind of
it was so funny
that they like to do.
Super funny.
It was just weird. The continuity just went on. It was off.
But what about when they would stop and go, when you fight me, you throw a good punch. This character is just,
and you know that she's not going to kill Hawkeye. Like her whole mission is a farce. So
where was Yelena, or as we know her better, Yakov?
No, just call her Yelena, please. It's way.
Why
shorter.
was Yakov Smirnoff? Where was Yakov Smirnoff hiding all the rope that appeared to come out of her ass as she was rappelling down the side of the building?
It's not important.
What?
Okay. All of these fights have no stakes and are completely meaningless and just drag the show on and on and on because you know none of these characters are going to die. Why the hell are the LARPers the little task force for Kate Bishop and Hawkeye now? When did any of this come into play that the LARPers would be their little fucking
came from the
remember when we complained about the LARPing 5 episodes ago? It was like the development that like everybody snoozed over. Like it was just like they do that and then he gets his suit back and then they hang out a bit at the apartment and you're just supposed to accept that somewhere along the way.
It's because it was part of the comic book or something and they just wanted to include it.
Why did the LARPers need to get dressed in their costumes to be able to escort people out of the building or to hit people with bats?
Because they felt they were more official that way.
Oh,
that's basically it. It was supposed to be their payoff and people go, oh, but like the costume department on this show is like kind of lacking. Like, did anyone think that Kate Bishop would have like a similar to Daredevil season 1, like by the end of the episode, like her official costume? And instead they kind of go the other way, which is fine, where Hawkeye wears her costume. But
Kate is shooting at the supports on the tree, so now the tree will fall over and endanger the hundreds of people that would very likely be underneath it. But of course, conveniently, for absolutely no reason, nobody is on the ice or surrounding the building where
nobody's in Rockefeller Square on Christmas Eve.
Hawkeye shoots a magnet arrow. Good thing none of the arrows that are in the quivers that they've used already have metal parts in them.
It's electromagnetic, so it ends up magnetic when it
that makes
starts
sense.
up.
So the Trenchcoat Mafia decided that they would drive their truck over the sidewalk, over the barrier of the stairs, onto the ice outside of Rockefeller Plaza to kill Clint and Kate, which would also kill the 2 people in the car in the process. Okay.
They do the same thing in Civil War.
That whole group doesn't really think.
So what answer does Yakov Smirnoff want to hear? She thinks that Clint killed her sister. And that's why she wants to kill him, I think. I'm still not 100% certain, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
Well, that's what she explicitly states. And given how good she is, she should technically be able to kill him. No
but then
problem. She
when
killed
he
him on the roof
says
when she shows
she's
up.
dead and she saved the world, she says, no, that's not it. You're pathetic. What answer does she want to hear? Black Widow is dead and she thinks Clint killed her. Why does she even give a shit about what happened? If Clint is going to tell her and she's going to say, no, that's not true, why even fucking bother asking him? Just kill him.
Because she's supposed to come to the realization that she's in denial of, that her sister had a significant relationship with somebody other than her, that in her family that she missed out on for the last 5 years.
Which reads to another one of my points. Why did Yakov Smirnoff not watch the Black Widow movie? Doesn't she remember that she hates her sister? But let's forget about that.
But that was family hating family.
That's actually a really good point.
What the fuck are Maz and Maya arguing about? I, honest to God, have no idea what these two are fighting about or what it is that they disagree about. I think it's the Kingpin, but that's it.
That the Kingpin killed her dad for some reason. Perhaps he wanted to kill her because so the hot guy could be, the new leader of the tracksuit mafia, but that's basically as far as it goes.
Okay.
That is a wasted character, by the way, the tracksuit hottie guy. He is in it enough where he could have a significant arc actually, or mean something or say something, and they just waste every single scene he's in.
Yakov Smirnoff keeps saying, why did she sacrifice herself for you? He has already said twice that she sacrificed herself to save the world. Is Yakov Smirnoff really that stupid? Why doesn't she just kill fucking Clint Barton if that's her job? She's been hired to do it. She wants to do it. She said it's her mission in life. Why does she not just do it? She's like, hey, tell me you killed my sister. Okay, I killed your sister. No, you're pathetic. That's bullshit. Tell me how my sister died. She sacrificed herself for the world.
It's a personal vendetta. It's a personal vendetta. She wants to confront her who she blames.
Yeah, but why didn't she do it? If the question is why
I believe the answer is so the show can continue. Oh, look, the stupid thumb finger flip thing came in handy 3 shows later.
What is that?
What the hell are Kate and her mother arguing about?
Was that in there?
Yeah.
That's
what she used to beat the Kingpin.
Yeah, when she had to set it. Yeah. What the hell are Kate and her mother arguing about at the end of this stupid show? Her mother says that she can't handle having nothing. Her mother says to Kate, she can't handle having nothing, and Kate wouldn't be able to clean up her own messes. She also then says, is this what heroes do at Christmas? Is this what heroes do? They arrest their mothers at Christmas. Heroes arrest criminals. Her mother is a criminal. Therefore, she's arresting her mother. The empathy that you're supposed to feel on the drama of that scene is completely sucked out by fucking logic, and I hate when that happens.
Well, I don't think you're supposed to feel empathy for the
mother.
No, I think
you're supposed to.
There's supposed to be some sort of drama in that scene. That's why they work it for drama.
With the mother?
With the mother.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. It's like with Thanos, Phil, where it's like some people think, okay, what he's doing is wrong, but I understand where he's coming from. It's like that's what they're trying to evoke.
I understand the empathize of the mother in general, but
that's what I think it is. It's supposed to be because she's Kate Bishop's mother. Would you arrest your mother? If you're a criminal, you're fucking I'd arrest you.
I don't think that there should be any empathy at all for the point that you're making in terms of her point. I think her point is just a quick rationale of like, do heroes do this? Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Like,
yes, they do, because you're
well, that's the thing is like, okay, so we're not supposed to care about something this character cares about, and it's not supposed to have any meaning.
I think she's just using rationale. It's not an actual point. Like she is trying to guilt trip a bit, but I don't think it's like
they could have cut like pretty much all of the adult characters in Kate's life into like one person.
Because it's like fuck. Yeah. Hawkeye convinces Yakov Smirnoff about something that I can't figure out. with a secret whistle. Why in the sweet name of fuck did he not just do the secret whistle when he met her on the rooftop 5 fucking shows ago?
Because he doesn't feel he deserves it to live, and he's he's enjoying spending a time away from his family, clearly. So
it's also a surprise.
But also the show ends with a secret whistle. I guess that was the one thing that I was just like, wow. Every time I think this show can't get any dumber, it can't break through that fucking glass floor, it fucking smashes through it with a goddamn sledgehammer.
I think it worked.
Why did Kate's mom hire Yakov Smirnoff? Why did Yakov Smirnoff not simply go after Hawkeye on her own? Why did Yakov Smirnoff care to hear what happened when her sister died? Why does Yakov Smirnoff believe what Hawkeye is telling her is the truth? Is it all because of the secret whistle?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait,
it's about everything.
Like you've said it enough times. What's the deal with the secret whistle? I remember it, but
why once he does that secret whistle to Yakov Smirnoff, she instantly believes everything he says? Because you're a liar who I've already said is a liar that I've been hired to kill. Oh, you know the secret whistle? Everything you say now is
no. She needed to have that not explained. What's the word? For him to talk her into it, like
convince her of it.
Yeah, and that was the one. Whistle. That was the one thing that just drove her over the edge. You could see that she was slowly turning, and that she didn't actually want to kill him, but she was still angry, and she still wanted to like put him through hell because of this whole situation. But then the whistle made her understand that, like, yeah, her sister was close to him and did tell these stories to him.
Sure. Wow, an off-screen gunshot when the gun is pointed at Kingpin. I wonder if she really killed him. Hawkeye tells Kate that every now and then you come across somebody who makes you a better person. You know who makes him a better person? His wife and 3 children. That those 4 people that he seems hellbent not to visit on Christmas. That was kind of a stretch.
It wasn't about not wanting to visit them.
My last point: Hawkeye's wife must be so happy that Hawkeye brought along a cute, young, fit girl that he spent the entire previous week with that he would not discuss with her on the phone.
She trusts him.
Yeah. Well, I was actually gonna say this because I thought it was funny. Of like during this, I'm like, yeah, they're spending a lot of time together for like a 44-year-old man and like a 24-year-old girl. It's like, in any other like storyline, if anybody had the balls, they would like try and make something out of this, or at least make a joke that on the
first episode review, and you guys were like, no. No, I said that. I said like they could have made this into like he's like hitting on her, like and like he's having a thing on the side, but it's like they wouldn't do that obviously because of the context and Disney.
Yeah, they don't want to make the wife character like a shrew, which is the only useful angle they would have, and I guess good for them for refusing to play it. But it's like,
also, who the fuck would choose Kate Bishop over Linda Cardinelli? That's a fucking better question. But I mean, for me, this show
probably this show all about age at this point.
This show just man alive went like it originally started kind of like a roller coaster, and then it just, I guess very similar to a roller coaster, just went straight down. These last 2 episodes were hammered garbage.
I will counter and say simply that I loved this episode, and I think yes, it should have had a better show overall going through it, but I had so much fun in this episode, so like I was happy.
So I would say the things that I like to go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to one last point that I wanted to bring up. As we all know, an arc in a story, or a character's development, a character's arc in a story, is that the character is different at the end of the story than where they are at the start. Where is Hawkeye or Kate Bishop different at the end of the show than where they are at the start? Nowhere. Kate still distrusts her mother. Kate still idolizes Hawkeye. Kate still thinks that Hawkeye is the best Avenger in the world. Whereas Hawkeye, at the end of the story, he gets home for Christmas. At the start of the show, he was going to get home for Christmas. Just, the kids had to go because he had to deal with something else. And he is still Hawkeye. Like he hasn't passed her the mantle. Nothing. Nobody changes. Yep. Nobody changes in this whole show. So this show is a waste of time, a complete waste of your time.
Yeah, it was a show built to continue this build up of the new team.
Yeah, and continue is right because it does nothing to change it. But all right,
yeah, it's a wheel spinning
points.
kind of thing. I was thinking while I was watching, why do I like this show? I like the character that were established before the movie. I like the character or TV show of Hawkeye. Kate Bishop doesn't annoy me. It looks nice as at least a movie quality production. And I like the Christmas in New York setting. The one thing that I'll say about this show that I do like, that I did like, and it's the only thing that worked in my opinion, and like me and my dad laughed out loud, that Jack turns out to be completely innocent and had nothing to do with anything.
He kind of turns out to be a bumbling ass of a human being.
About it was a fabulous red herring, and it's like that scene where it's like, wow, he got out of jail, and they're like, nothing phases that guy. It's like, why is he wearing a sword? And he's like, just to prove how innocent he is.
And I want to see more of him.
Yeah. So I thought
it wasn't even that. Like I originally thought, oh, this guy will be super sinister, but he turns out just to be an affable dummy. The show is just a complete idiot.
That's the one thing about the show that worked, of like the one plot angle that they didn't bungle, basically. It's the one thing that I wish that they did do, and of course they only half commit to it because they can't, but it's like when Kingpin meets Maya, who had time to get her hair done, really nice. When she shows up, it's like, oh, she's gonna kill Kingpin. That makes complete sense for closure of her story, to kill Kingpin, the person who killed her father. But they can't kill Kingpin because he's too important of a character.
Yeah.
So that like annoyed me, even though I didn't like Maya when she like appeared and stuff like that. I understand in the construct of the story, in order for her arc to be fulfilled, and it's one of the few things they paid slight attention to, even though she's like completely gone from the latter half of the story, is that like it's. I get that she becomes a character later on that they can ignore the most important parts of. But like, yeah, it's like she should have killed Kingpin. Kingpin should have just showed up to die. They can always inexplicably bring him back later, but they should have like killed him off or something.
I so do not need a Maya series.
Yeah. It's the kind of character who would work perfectly as like a bad guy or an opponent that kind of turns they call it in writing the enemy turned ally. That the show needed, but
they turn.
Opponent turned,
I've heard them referred to as frenemy, where they're your enemy and they reluctantly.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like more professional terms.
I like professional terms, like this show sucks my balls.
My dad said at the end, he's like, oh, the last episode wasn't as good as the rest of them. And I kind of thought, when was it good? And the one good part was in episode 3, the car chase, basically. And it's basically like that's constructed around the whole show. But even that doesn't mean those acid arrows that he had, I thought they were going to come up again. Nope. Didn't matter. Her schooling, nope. Didn't matter. You could kind of, like, aside from giving Maya something to do, you could take Kingpin out of the story, it wouldn't matter. Like, you could take anything out of the story and it wouldn't matter.
That whole Kingpin part of it was worthless.
I loved it.
Even the introduction to Kingpin, pointless.
I love Kingpin. I love Vincent
D'Onofrio is a wonderful actor, and he's wonderful as the Kingpin character. But it's like Loki, where Richard Edlund shows up in the very last show of fucking Loki, and you're like, oh, dude, Richard Edlund, the guy's awesome. And in this one, Vincent D'Onofrio shows up. Oh, dude, Vincent D'Onofrio is awesome. Oh, he's gone.
Okay. Kingpin definitely needed his own, like, he's the bad guy of the movie, like totally. But I enjoyed it. I liked his introduction to the MCU. Aside from the NBC stuff.
So what's this bullshit here
and Netflix,
with the introduction to the MCU? Because as I recall, the show was already in the MCU. So it's just them confirming something that already was.
So the whole thing with Netflix and I think it was it ABC with like Shield and all that.
Oh,
it's like Shield. When they came
which
into
is a reference to that's what the watch is at the end, which I had to look up.
When they came into doing those things, it kind of was like a Sony deal where it's like, yeah, you guys can take the reins on this as long as you follow certain rules. Sony has their own rules. They do whatever they want. But I mean, like, it's not MCU. Right?
Well, it is because it was developed by them. It's like Spider-Man is part of the MCU.
It was supposed to be in the MCU, but then none of the movies cared to say anything about it. You had no cross anything, and then they were like, doesn't matter. Like, nothing in Shield
are
matter.
We to say then that until like these shows confirm what we already know, that it's like essentially they don't count, is what you're saying.
Yes.
And then when they do happen, everything's asked to count again. That's bullshit. It's just complete bullshit.
Well, I agree, it's bullshit. I wish I love.
They were developed by Marvel Studios.
I know, but it doesn't matter because they don't care.
Well, this show doesn't matter then, and none of it matters then.
Oh, because this show is done. I think we fucking knew that from show number 1.
This show is
like
made to tie
it
in.
Means nothing to me that Kingpin shows up again. Like, it means absolutely nothing. It's like, great, he was already Netflix stuff. There. I'm not.
I don't. I hate the idea. I hate the idea. The only way I'm going to be able to appreciate any upcoming movies is if I've watched the fucking shows and the web series and the movies and the comics. Dude, I just want to go watch a fucking movie.
That's the thing.
Now, I understand for the people who get involved. That's totally cool, dude. Like, I get that this is what you want to be a part of. But for me, that's why the new Marvel phase doesn't work. I only want to watch.
Because they're adding TV and they're stretching themselves too thin.
Yeah, like that would be like, oh, you know what? The only way you're going to understand Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is if you watch the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Like, no, that's fucking bullshit. There's 3 Indiana Jones movies. That's it. I don't need to watch the Star Wars fucking holiday special to know what's going on in Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. And it feels like this is what Marvel's trying to do. They're trying to say, watch absolutely everything.
You've proven your point wrong because you said when we were talking about in a previous thing, when we were talking about Doctor Strange, that they just glossed over the thing and you didn't need that backdrop of the TV series. So you're proving your point wrong because you don't need that. It was Will that brought that up.
The point is that
I thought you said that.
No, it's
anyway.
No, my point is
that it doesn't matter. Like, I liked Daredevil, season 1, 2, and 3, even though season 2 limped to the end. Season 3 was pretty cool. And, I watched The Punisher. My dad watched it. I watched season 2 completely. I watched the first one off and on. I enjoyed it. I watched the first season. Jessica Jones didn't watch the rest because who cares? And I watched The Defenders. Kind of an oddity of a show, and only like one episode of that is pretty good. But I follow it. I watched the first season way later of Agent Carter, which is pretty decent.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I never watched any of the shows.
For me to be like, oh, how grand of the Disney Marvel overlords to acknowledge their own work, which wasn't that good, means nothing to me. You can see here why I like Matrix Resurrections to compare, because it says in Matrix Resurrections, yeah, we made a lot of decisions. They weren't very popular, but we're not going to override those or try and ignore what they happen. Peace was achieved between the machines and all of this. So on this show to be like, ooh, surprise, surprise, Kingpin exists in the MCU. It's like, well, technically it already did. And
see, that's for me, that's not the part of it.
My responsibility.
That's not the part of it that bothers me. For me, the part of it that bothers me is, and it's not. Sorry, I should take that back.
It's not our responsibility to keep track.
It's that I am not going to be on board. What?
Oh, sorry, I was saying to Will's point that it's not I didn't say that it was your responsibility to keep checking, and that's my point. It does. It's just. It's really nice to see him come in as Kingpin. That's great.
For me, I'm not on board for the next. I'd love to be on board, but I will not be on board for the next phase of Marvel because I am not going to watch absolutely everything there is in order to understand the story. If you have
but you won't need to.
That's what it feels. To me, that's what it feels like. That's the direction they're going in. And I'm going to be like, oh, well, why does Kingpin know Hawkeye? What the fuck is going on? Oh, that's from the Hawkeye show. I'm not going to watch the fucking show. I don't care about that shit.
But they will never make reference to Hawkeye knowing Kingpin or something. Or if they will, it's like the watch from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I think they will. That's part of Marvel's new phase. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's part of Marvel's new phase.
I think they're smart enough to just. I think they're smart enough to just like say, okay, here's this thing. But if you did watch this, great. That's an awesome little thing that you have. Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Kevin Feige said the same thing, that they are making television as a part of Phase 4. However, you don't need to have seen it to understand. Similar to Doctor
Strange. They will club you over the head if you need to know it. They will show it.
Yeah, I don't feel that way. And I wouldn't even call myself a huge Marvel fan. As a casual Marvel fan, I have zero interest in continuing these shows. I'll watch the next fucking big Infinity War Endgame, but if I have to go to that and know what was going on from the show,
still don't know what it would be.
Sense. Yeah. Fuck that.
So you're
that's like you talking about the variants and stuff like that. Like if I never watched Loki, I go to the next movie, and they're like, "Remember how we said time variance authority?" Is it like, nope, I'm out. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to watch your fucking TV show.
Hey Rob, if we're still doing this podcast, we're watching it.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it with the same fucking flair and enjoyment that I had of fucking Hawkeye.
I'm sure Moon Knight will be okay. Like these shows have at least been somewhat watchable. WandaVision aside being horrible.
It's been for these shows. It's been downhill since the first one. WandaVision was the shining star of all of these, and they have all since been straight fucking downhill.
Why do you think that is? Do you think, Rob, that their business strategy was like, okay, we're going to be ambitious with like what the medium can do with WandaVision and see how we can push the lore and
I think
how people react?
I think as much as Disney wants to pretend they don't, they read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, followed those rules for WandaVision, the most key, I believe it's rule number 3, but give it the end of mind, and did not do it for any of the others. WandaVision.
What about don't bore the audience, because they broke that rule pretty hard.
WandaVision is the only one that succeeds in telling a complete story. All the other ones do not. Worst of all, this fucking one. This one is a huge boredom.
I was going to say we need to end this now. Our 15-minute segment went 33 minutes. So
if you just let me read through my notes, we could have gotten through it.
That's our thing. We'd go back and forth. That's the thing.
It's your thing.
It's the thing.
Fuck that.
Watchingcomplain.com. We all enjoyed Hawkeye, so we're gonna watch more. Hopefully for season 2.
I'd give it a 4 out of 10.
I give it a 5.
I give it a 3.
I enjoyed the last episode.
You know what? I give it a 3.
But I give it a 5.
F that show.
I agree.
Oh my god.
Watchingcomplain.com.
Didn't live up to its promise.
We get lots of views. We get lots of views from Hawkeye fans. So hi, Hawkeye fans.
Hawkeye fans, reach out to us on social media. Tell me why I'm wrong. And then after that, I'll reply with a signed picture of myself saying, go fuck yourself.
Because we know better.
Watchingcomplain.com.
Phil and Will won't respond to you, but I will.
I'll respond if I'm bored. After the day after tomorrow, I'm totally free. Open book.
I like that movie.
Fuck off.